It seemed to be a big hit, a lot of good feedback and response from everyone. Last week's the first segment of Smartwatch Dick and his nitpicks. So we had some fun with that, and we figured, well, we're this far into it, we're gonna keep rolling with it. And the surprise this week is that we actually have Smartwatch Dick with us. So he's gonna come on and join us and sit here and give us his nitpicks live for us today. We don't know what he's going to say. We don't know what's going to happen. So I'm looking forward to this. This should be fun. Anything you'd like to add before we roll the intro and take
You know
our
what? All I'm
beatings?
gonna no, man. I think you've nailed the segment perfectly. I'm excited to have Dick on, and yeah, also a little bit of nervous anticipation, wondering what he's picked up on us this week.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like I'm kind of hesitating a little bit or delaying this a little bit because I know what's about to come.
Yeah, for sure.
And I have no idea what's about to come, but I'm afraid of it. So, anyways. Awesome. Well, all right. Well, with that being said, let's get into the nitpicks with Smartwatch Dick.
Take it away, Smartwatch Dick.
Nitpicks. Corrections incoming with Smartwatch Dick.
Hey boys, nice to be here live this week. Alex, I got to thank you last week for that great introduction. I got to say, I appreciate how you called me into facts and details. Usually it's condescending and insufferable, so I'm pretty happy about that. No? No? Oh, I figured you were going to ask. Here we go. Garmin Venue 3. I don't know if you can see it there. I'm sure Alex can put up a picture, but really simple face. It's only got the time and date, but if you look closely, it's basically like a jumping hour face. So I don't want to crap on the watch last week that cost like a year's salary, but I think it's quite a bit prettier. All right, on to the nitpicks. So there's a bit of a theme this week. Jordan's math. Now, we're talking about the Breitling Aston Martin. You said the Aston Martin version's about $13,900. The regular one's going for about $13,400. And that's a $1,500 difference, about a $1,500 difference. The word about is doing a lot of work in that sentence. But you also did say at one point that a $90,000 watch is 90,000 times more than a $1,000 watch. So you could have used a lot of abouts in that one, I'm afraid. Now this one's for the Spotify and Apple listeners. Alex, I could tell you love the Breitling watch, but people who are listening in audio do not really get much out of you sitting slack-jawed saying, wow, wow. Doesn't do a lot for the podcast listener. An audio medium is really no place to be lost for words. But I think the lesson here is if you're just listening, it's definitely worth your time to subscribe and watch on YouTube. You get to see the watches the guys are talking about. Plus you get to see Alex's jaw on the floor when he sees one he likes. Now, a little bit of information. Jordan, I appreciate you last week talking about the COSC. So when you were talking about the chronographs, Swiss certification, etc. So the COSC got me doing some research. So it's the Control Official Suisse de Chronometers. Now what they do is they get watches from the manufacturers and test them to see if they're accurate. This is only done for Swiss watches. Sorry, Jordy, you probably know all this stuff, but I'm making sure the masses know too, as well as Alex. So they've got 164 employees in 3 labs. They actually certify over 2 million movements and watches every year. The level you were talking about, the certified chronometer, basically it's a 20-day process. The manufacturer must send in the movement and the hands. They don't have to send a full watch. Over that 20 days, they test, like you said, at different temperatures. So they test at 23 degrees, 8 degrees, and 38 degrees Celsius. Sorry, Americans, I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. They also test the watch at 5 different positions. So vertically at 6, 9, and 3, as well as face down and face up. Over that time, Jordan, you said it has to be within -2 and +6 seconds a day. You were close. The actual standard is -4 to 6 seconds, and that's averaged over 7 days. Interestingly, just last week on February 12th, they brought in a new standard. So Now they have what's called the excellence chronometer, where once a watch passes the first stage and the movement passes, they send it back to the manufacturer. That watch is fully cased and sent back as a complete timepiece. There's a minimum of 4 days of further testing where it's done in more dynamic positions. To pass that testing, it has to be within -2 to +4 seconds per day. I thought this was interesting. I also thought it was interesting that any watch that comes out with those standards was actually tested. They don't do representative sampling and just take one and say the whole batch is good. Every single watch was tested if it has that standard. One more, just for information, we were talking about the AP Noir, 56,000 Swiss francs. You thought it was roughly 90,000 Canadian. Today, $99,250. So just about six figures for that watch. The last couple corrections, Alex, Jordan was talking about you being fast. Now, I don't want to speak out of school, but I once saw you at 2 a.m. racing the son of a friend of ours down the street. Shout out to Heaven Juice Box. Let's just say the speed was not blazing, but we didn't end up going to the emergency room, so that's better than some of our trips, so we'll take our victories where we get them. The strangest part of last week's episode, Jordan, you mentioned having pictures of Alex wrestling. I can't even imagine. I don't know what that situation is. I'm glad that those pictures didn't come to light. You also at some point confused centimeters and millimeters, so I'm just glad our viewer Wendy C didn't have pictures of you confusing that one either. That's it for last week's episode. As always, we're open to your comments, corrections, anything you'd like. Please send the guys messages, follow them on Instagram, YouTube comments, whatever you want. If you want to come directly to me and get on the Smartwatch Dick segment, as always, WYTA nitpicks at gmail.com. Oh. Sorry. Lily's telling me that I got to go practice my Duolingo. See you guys next week.
All right. Well, another weekly segment second segment of Smartwatch Dick coming in to give us his feedback from last week's episode. Sorry that I saw a watch that I kind of was smitten with, and it left me a little speechless. I'll do some talking right now for you, mister.
Yeah, wow, he's on us, hey? Like I'm a banker, Smartwatch Dick. I know exactly all the current, conversions from Swiss francs to Canadian dollars, including banking fees as well. Yeah, there's a lot of weight on the about because I'm about terrible at math.
I have to admit, though, if I had one piece of feedback for myself after last week's episode, it was like, hey, dummy, not everyone's watching YouTube. You got to talk after you see something you like. So I'm not surprised that he caught me on that.
What's even funny is you commented on it after, like, hey, sorry, I kind of left you hanging on that bit. And to me, that's why I told you not to look at it, because I didn't think you'd be speechless, but I wanted to catch your true and natural reaction to that watch, and it was everything I'd hoped for, and maybe even a little more, actually.
Yeah, we definitely got it. It. So here's my favorite part. So we're on episode 6 now. We're at episode 6 now today, recording, aren't we?
Wow. I don't know. I told you I'm terrible at math. You're not listening.
And the second segment of Smartwatch Dick. And here he is telling us about watches that are not smartwatches.
Yeah, he's schooling us on COSC certified.
Isn't this an interesting turn of events?
Yes, I think somebody found a rabbit hole.
Right?
Yeah,
So
well, and here's the thing. I want to make sure I'm not justifying my mistakes last week, but if we're going to talk about COSC certified and the COSC excellence program, that is all also based on something called METAS certification, which is kind of a different thing, and that one is at -2 to +4 seconds a day. So I was talking, I mixed up my terms, but what I really, like you say, to your point, Alex, I really appreciate that Smartwatch Dick spent 2 hours on the COSC certification website learning about how much goes into testing an average wristwatch.
I fully suspect by the time we all see each other in, we're going to see each other in May for Rich's big 50th birthday, for Smartwatch Dick's 50th birthday. So if you're listening, he did give out his email account here. His 50th birthday is coming up, so maybe you want to give him the gears for his birthday coming up. But when we're away on with the boys' golf trip, I fully suspect by then he's going to be switching back and forth from his smartwatch on the course to his real watch off the course.
Yeah, we'll have him
Real
completely watch. Yeah, what's the word I'm looking for? Assimilated. He'll be assimilated by then.
Assimilated. Brainwash. No.
Rich, stop eating protein now, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with that. I do appreciate that he pointed out that I was going to learn something. I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I didn't necessarily learn anything, but I learned that I better stop misspeaking on this show.
Yeah. Spit the marbles out of your mouth, speak clearly, and
Is it bad that the Smartwatch Dick segment after 2 is quickly becoming my favorite part of the show?
You and me both.
Yeah.
It's the easiest part for us. I mean, I got to sit there and take a little bit of a beating, but yeah.
Yeah, I can take the abuse. It's if I can get a laugh out of it, you can say a lot of things about me. I don't mind that. Oh yeah, I just appreciate Rich, Smartwatch Dick coming on the show because he is, he's a fun guy. Doesn't take himself or his smartwatch too seriously. And lets us know probably to not take ourselves too seriously as well, which I find, that's quite important.